Blackhawks win 4-3 in Dallas against the Dallas Stars in the shootout, finally snapping this losing streak. Welcome back to the Blackhawks Conversation post-game show. My name is Ryan. If you weren't aware, this show is now available on Apple Podcasts, so be sure to go listen to it over there if you'd rather do that. This game was a great game. Um, Not only because they got the win, but even if they had lost in the shootout, I think I'd be saying the same thing. Um, Obviously, the Hawks come in without their two star players, 13, 17, and 6, facing a red hot Dallas Stars team who's 25, 7, and 6, now 25, 7, and 7. Uh, in Dallas, um, because of weather conditions, Hawks didn't have a morning skate. So this game was their first time on the ice in 4 days. Um, just a great win. Arvid Soderblom was in the net versus Jake Ottinger tonight, and Arvid Soderblom. Oh, I can't speak. Arvid Soderblom had a great game. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives to go over in this game, but uh, yeah, it was a really back and forth game. I mean, Bertuzzi scores first from Vlasic and Slaggert on a nice 3-on-2. Great pass from Slaggert. Another great pass from Vlasic. I don't think anyone thought Vlasic was finding Bertuzzi there. I think everyone on Dallas thought Vlasic was going to find Dickinson in the middle. He found Bertuzzi, who had a wide open cage. It was a beautiful goal. Um, and then Lundqvist ties it 1-1, a point shot with a bit of a double screen. It went through Donato's legs, and you had, I forget, the Dallas forward who was kind of standing in front as well. I don't blame Soderblom on that one. And then after Dallas scored that tying goal, they started to wake up a little bit because it was very Chicago dominant early in this first period. The Hawks came out great, credit to them. But Dallas started to wake up. Teams still traded back and forth chances. And by the end of the first period, I thought to myself, okay, the Hawks are keeping up very well 5-on-5. Although you can kind of tell Dallas is the better team, Hawks are still keeping up pretty well. One thing I did notice was very sloppy zone exits and very sloppy play in the neutral zone. And that sort of could be said, I thought, for both teams, maybe more so Chicago, but I thought that definitely could have been said for both teams. And then we go into the second, and the Hawks came out flying in the second period. They had a lot of great chances. They came out flying. They had a lot of jump, but Murphy unfortunately gets a penalty, um, and for holding. Um, and Dickinson scores. So Dickinson kind of, gets the puck handed off to him essentially from Levshinov in his own end, and then Jason Dickinson skates through two Dallas Stars players in the neutral zone. And then as he's skating into the offensive zone, the two Stars defensemen backed off, gave him so much space, allowed him to walk almost basically to the top of the circles into the slot, and he just wired a wrist shot over Ottinger. So Dickinson from Levshinov to make it 2-1. Uh, and then this Dallas Stars player whose name I still can't pronounce it. I've heard it I can't pronounce this guy's name. Uh, Harai Koian. I don't know how to say this guy's name. I've heard it. I can hear it in my head. I've heard it on the broadcast, and I still can't say this guy's name. He ties it up 2-2. You had a shot off the post on the rush, rebound to the open man, and he puts it home. But earlier in the play, um, the Hawks clear the puck out. Dallas quickly comes back in, and as Dallas is coming in, Levshinov, who's playing the right side, or at least is in that moment playing the right side, because if I get um, hinges to the man up high on the left, gets beat, and now Dallas has an odd man rush in tight. The rebound goes to the open man who puts it home after the original shot goes off the post. So well, I'll get to Levshinov more at the end of the when I'm done going over the game here. But yeah, both teams kind of trade penalties at the end of the second period, and going into the third, Hawks are shorthanded, and they killed the penalty very well. Hawks penalty kill was great tonight. I believe it went 4 for 4, but it was really good tonight. Um, Yeah, they're shorthanded to start the period. Oliver Moore had a great play at the beginning of the second where he used his speed to create a 2-on-1. Beautiful pass over to Toninato, but better save by Ottinger. Then Kaiser gets called for a trip. They kill it off. Soderblom makes more big saves. Ben then gets a high sticking penalty. Hawks go to the power play. Um, Levshinov turns it over. Ben has a breakaway. Big save, Levshinov. Just kind of a lot of back and forth hockey happening here. And then Mikko Rantanen makes it 3-2 with not much time to go in the third. Um, just a miscommunication, it seemed, on the breakout. Ryan Green was kind of trying to skate the puck out through the circles, and he kind of dropped it back to Vlasic, who definitely wasn't expecting the pass. So that kind of threw him off. He didn't not much he can do there. Dallas gets the puck, shot, rebound, Rantanen scores. I mean, um, that's a pass. Green's got to keep moving the puck forward, and he's got to get that puck out. Um, but then the Hawks answer back, and credit to the Hawks. There were moments in this game where the Hawks would score and they would take the lead, and Dallas would respond right away. And the Hawks did that right back to them. Rantanen makes it 3-2, and then not that much longer later, the Hawks fire right back, and Tyler Bertuzzi gets his second of the game and makes it 3-3 from Murphy and Vlasic. And Vlasic has so much space at the top of at the point. He walks in, puts it on net. Credit to Connor Murphy, a beautiful deflection. Puck is right in the feet on the tape of or sorry, not Burakovsky, Bertuzzi, who taps it home, has his second of the game. Um, and then it's just chaos at the end of the third. Rantanen has a breakaway that's saved, and Lardis has a really good chance with 3.5 to go, and we're going to overtime. Um, Interesting choice. They put Lafferty out there to start the overtime, and I thought, okay, maybe they're rewarding him because he played a good game, but I thought a lot of other guys also had good games and better games, and guys who were more, appropriate to start an overtime period. But it is what it is. Hawks win the draw, and then Lafferty's the guy who ends up, you know, losing possession for the Hawks. But really back and forth. Really, it was a really good overtime period from obviously Soderblom, who made a couple of really good saves, but also Alex Vlasic. He started the overtime period. He got stuck out there because of the long change. Hawks are hemmed in. Stars are able to get fresh legs out there, and Alex Vlasic just strips the forward of the puck, dead tired, and is able to break it out and get the Hawks possession and a change again. Um, Dallas, I think Dallas had quite a few more chances in the overtime, and Soderblom came up huge. And we go to a shootout. Duchesne and Donato are the only ones to score in the first 3 rounds. So we go to extra rounds. Johnson gets stopped, and they give the kid Nick Lardis a try, and he puts it home and wins the game, and the Hawks win it 4-3. So that's a great way to start this back to back. I mean, I can imagine what this win is going to do mentally and in the locker room for this team because you're down your top two, your 1C and your 2C, and your most skilled forwards in Bedard and Nazar. You're out your captain still, even though we kind of thought he might be back by now. And you're starting your backup goalie, and you're in Dallas, one of the toughest buildings for the Hawks for sure to play in. The Hawks never play well in Dallas, and you haven't been on the ice in 4 days. I mean, everything was against this team, and they played such a good, hard-fought game. They were right there with the Stars the whole time. There was no point in this game, even in the second period that the Hawks are notoriously bad in. There was no point in this game where the Hawks were getting outplayed and outworked and looking clearly like the worst team or the worst of the two teams. That never happened in this game. I thought more points they looked like the better team than they did the worst team. Um, and where they were dominated though was the faceoff circle. That I will say they were absolutely dominated in the faceoff circle. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I know at one point through the third they showed the percentages, and Dallas had won 68% of the faceoffs. They were getting worked in the circle, but you're 1 and 2C, so it makes sense. Um, yeah. Oh, obviously, Landon Slaggert got called up for this game. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Slaggert got called up obviously because Ilya Mikheyev didn't play. Him and his wife are having a child, so Mikheyev didn't play. So Slager got called up and immediately got slotted on the first line, which leads me to a complaint I have here. Is not only a complaint of Nick Lardis still being on the fourth line, but You bring up Landon Slaggert and put him on the first line when he's the perfect third line player, and you have this pure goal scorer in Nick Lardis that you're giving a look to, and you still bury him on the fourth line. It doesn't make sense to me. My only sort of reasoning I can come up with of why Blashill would do this is he just wants to roll all four lines. Um, and he wants, a scoring threat on each line, but that's not really how Nick Lardis was used in this game, which is really frustrating. But I ranted about that in a previous episode, so I'm not going to get into that again. But thought everyone had a really good game. Lev Shinov did have a few mistakes. Wyatt Kaiser had a really good game. But the guys who I thought really stood out tonight were Soderblom, Bertuzzi, Crevier, Moore, and Lafferty. I thought they played really well. But yeah, going back to what I was saying before about imagining what this is going to do for this team mentally, all the downs, right? All the downs I mentioned before, you're missing your top two guys, you know, um, your backup goalie, you're in Dallas, you haven't skated in 4 days, all that stuff. Not only that, um, but like the veterans finally stepped up. Like since Bedard and Nazar went down, we've been asking, okay, the veterans need to step up, and they did. Bertuzzi had 2 goals tonight. Vlasic played, and Vlasic's not a veteran, but on the back end, he's one of the veterans. I mean, he's one of the older guys on the back end. Soderblom played amazing. Donato, wasn't noticeable in the score sheet, but I thought Donato played a great game. I almost had him on my list of the most noteworthy good performances, but I didn't put him on there. Um, Lafferty had a great game. Burakovsky looked good. Toninato looked good. It was a good effort all around from everybody on this team, and it was a great win. And I really hope it starts building up Soderblom's confidence again, because when Soderblom is confident and he's on, he's a great backup goalie. It's just he's really had his struggles this year. This game and the Detroit game early in the year when he made like 44 saves or whatever, it was over 40 saves. These are the only 2 games this year that have been good games from Soderblom, and it's unfortunate because he can be a good backup goalie. He's just not having a great year. Um, aside from the Detroit game and the game tonight against Dallas. So yeah, nothing but positives really to say all around. I want to shit on the power play, but I can't. You're down your top 2 offensive threats. I can't sit here and shit on the power play when they're down their top 2 offensive threats. If they had got scored on in overtime, it'd be hard to shit on that. You're down your top 2 offensive threats. Like it's, um, so considering what the Hawks are working with right now, that was a great game, and I'm really hoping they can carry that momentum into tomorrow. It is a back-to-back. You have to travel tonight to go back home, but um, first game back at the UC since Christmas, the crowd's going to be into it. It'll be interesting to see what the turnout is. Um, I'm really hoping they can bring it against Crosby and the Pens, uh, but we'll see. That's it for me in this post game. I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me over on Twitter. There's always a lot of good hockey conversation, Hawks conversation too, going on over there. And like I said, this show is now available on Apple Podcasts and nope, just Apple Podcasts. I was going to say Spotify, not yet, just Apple Podcasts. And I did live stream the Philadelphia game on the 23rd the other day. If you didn't catch that, I will be trying to live stream a lot more Hawks games. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to check those out. I tweet on Twitter, or post on X, earlier in the day if I'm streaming, the game. So be sure to keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you in the next post game.